Read that sentence again. I'm sorry you feel that way. It sounds like an apology. It has the word sorry in it. But something about it feels wrong, hollow, like biting into a chocolate that turns out to be filled with nothing. Maybe you've heard a version of this sentence before. Maybe you said thank you after hearing it, because on the surface, it looked like your partner was taking responsibility. But days later, the same fight happened again, and you were left wondering, did they actually apologize? Or did they just say the word sorry to make the conversation stop? Here's the first thing I need you to sit with. Most apologies you receive in a relationship are not designed to repair the relationship. They're designed to repair the discomfort of the person apologizing. And those are two completely different things. So, here's the mystery we're solving today. What separates a real apology, the kind that actually heals something, from a fake one that just sounds good? Because both can use the exact same words. Both can come with a soft voice and sad eyes. So how do you tell them apart? And here's where it gets strange. The people who are best at fake apologies are usually not cold, cruel people. They're often the ones who are most afraid of conflict. The ones who hate seeing you upset so much, they'll say anything to make the tension disappear, even if they don't actually understand what they did wrong. Which means the sweetest sounding sorry can sometimes be the emptiest one, because that idea is going to change how you hear apologies forever. And by the end of this video, I'm going to give you one single phrase, just a few words that you can listen for in any apology. It acts like a truth detector. Once you hear it, or notice it's missing, you'll know almost instantly whether someone is actually sorry or just trying to end the conversation. But we have to build up to it, because if I told you now, it wouldn't make sense yet. Let's start with why fake apologies work so well on us in the first place. This is Partner Decoded, and today we're breaking down the anatomy of an apology, what makes it real, what makes it fake, and why our brains are so easily fooled by the second one. Let's go back to that sentence. I'm sorry you feel that way. Notice what's missing. There's no mention of an action. No mention of what they did. The sentence is entirely about your feelings, like your feelings appeared out of nowhere, with no cause. It's the emotional equivalent of pointing at a rainstorm and saying, sorry, you're wet. Psychologists call this a non-apology apology. It uses the language of remorse without any of the substance. And here's why it's so effective. It still contains the magic word. Your brain hears sorry and starts to relax a little, even while some other part of you feels like something's off. Compare that to a real apology. I'm sorry I forgot to call you back, and I understand that made you feel unimportant. See the difference? This version names the action. It names the impact. There's a person taking ownership, not just performing a ritual to end the discomfort. And this is where a lot of people get tricked. Even a well-worded apology, with all the right language, can still be completely fake. Because some people have learned the script of a good apology without ever feeling the emotion behind it. They've heard enough arguments, read enough relationship advice, maybe even seen therapy content online, and now they know exactly what words make you stop being upset. It's not honesty, it's performance. So if the words alone can't tell us the truth, what can? This brings us to the second pattern, and it might be the most important one in this entire video. A real apology is not a sentence. It's a sequence of behavior that happens after the sentence. Think about it like this. Imagine someone spills a drink on your favorite jacket at a party. If they say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," and then walk away and keep talking to their friends like nothing happened, did they actually care? Or did they just say the polite thing that's expected in that moment? Now imagine instead, they immediately grab a napkin, help you clean it up, offer to pay for dry cleaning, and check in with you later that night to make sure the jacket is okay. Same words, completely different apology. In relationships, this looks like a partner who says, "I'm sorry I was distant this week," and then actually puts their phone down at dinner the next few nights, versus a partner who says the exact same sentence and then goes right back to scrolling through their phone 20 minutes later. The apology isn't the sentence. The apology is what changes afterward. And this is exactly why fake apologies feel so confusing in the moment. Because in the moment, they're often indistinguishable from real ones. You can't fact-check someone's future behavior on the spot. You have to wait. And that waiting is where a lot of people get stuck in a cycle, apologizing and forgiving, without ever noticing that the pattern never actually breaks. Quick question, and I want you to actually think about this one. In your relationship, or in a relationship you've had, has an apology ever been followed by the exact same behavior happening again within a week? Maybe 2? If your answer is yes, keep that in your mind, because we're about to explain exactly why that happens. Here's pattern number 3. And it's a sneaky one. Some apologies aren't apologies at all. They're trades. You've probably heard this one. "I'm sorry, okay? Can we just move on?" On the surface, it looks like an apology followed by a reasonable request. But listen to the structure. There's no actual content in the sorry. It's a token, a password, being used to unlock the next part of the conversation. This is different from a real apology, because a real apology invites more conversation, not less. A person who's genuinely sorry usually wants to understand what they did wrong, because they don't want to do it again. A person doing a trade apology wants the topic closed as fast as possible, because for them, the goal was never repair. The goal was relief. Their own relief. This is such an important distinction, so let's slow down on it. It asks questions. Wait, can you tell me more about why that hurt you? Fake remorse is allergic to questions. It treats every follow-up question like an attack, because in their mind, they already paid the toll. They said sorry. Why are you still talking about it? If you've ever felt like you were being punished for accepting an apology and still wanting to talk it through, that's not you being unreasonable. That might be a sign the apology was never meant to open a conversation. It was meant to close one. Now, here's where we get into something a little heavier, but it's really common, so stay with me. Sometimes an apology doesn't come alone. Sometimes it comes wrapped inside blame. You might hear something like, "I'm sorry, but you also need to admit you overreacted," or "I said I was sorry, but you're the one who brought up stuff from 3 months ago, so maybe we're both wrong here." Psychologists have a name for this pattern. It's called DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. It's a way of technically saying sorry while quietly shifting the blame back onto you. By the end of the conversation, somehow you're the one comforting them, or you're the one apologizing too, even though you were the one who got hurt in the first place. This is one of the most disorienting experiences in a relationship, because you walk away from the conversation not even sure who needs to apologize to who. And that confusion isn't an accident. It's often the entire point, even if the person doing it doesn't consciously realize they're doing it. A lot of people learned this pattern young, as a defense mechanism, long before they ever entered a relationship with you. I know that might sound like a lot to take in, but understanding this pattern is powerful, because once you can name it, you stop blaming yourself for feeling confused. The confusion wasn't a personal failure. It was the predictable result of a conversation that was never structured to give you clarity in the first place. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Non-apologies that center your feelings instead of their actions. The truth that real apologies live in behavior, not words. Trade apologies that are just trying to buy silence. And DARVO, where sorry becomes a shield instead of a bridge. So now, finally, here's that one phrase I promised you at the start of this video. The truth detector. The next time someone apologizes to you, Ask this simple, calm question. What do you think you'll do differently next time? This single question works like a filter. A person who is genuinely sorry will usually have an answer, even a small, imperfect one. I'll try to put my phone away at dinner. I'll text you if I'm running late instead of just going quiet, something specific. But a person who is only performing an apology often gets uncomfortable with this question. They might repeat the apology instead of answering. They might get defensive. They might say something vague like, "I'll just try to do better," with no actual plan behind it. That gap, the space between "I'm sorry" and "here's what I'll do," is where the truth lives. A real apology has a future built into it. It's not just about erasing what happened. It's about changing what happens next. A fake apology only cares about the past, specifically about making the uncomfortable moment from the past disappear as fast as possible. So, what do you do with all of this? First, give yourself permission to notice patterns over time, instead of judging every single apology in isolation. One awkward sorry doesn't mean someone is manipulative, but a repeated pattern of apology without change is information. Trust the pattern, not the performance. Second, it's okay to ask for what you actually need. You're allowed to say, "I don't just need to hear sorry. I need to understand what changes." That's not you being difficult. That's you asking for a real repair instead of a quick patch. And third, be honest with yourself about your own apologies too. This isn't about becoming suspicious of everyone around you. It's about learning to recognize real accountability in others and in yourself, so your relationships can actually heal instead of just pausing over and over again. Because here's the honest truth. Some people, once they understand this, will start giving real apologies. They'll ask questions. They'll follow through. Their sorry will start meaning something. But some people won't. And if you keep noticing the same empty apology followed by the same repeated behavior, that pattern is telling you something too. Something about the relationship as a whole, not just this one conversation. That's actually exactly what we're unpacking in our next video. The difference between someone who makes mistakes and repairs them and someone stuck in a cycle they never intend to break. So if this video helped you understand what a real apology actually sounds like, that next one is going to help you understand what happens when it never comes at all.